It's the FIBA AmeriCup, live from Recife, Brazil. Game number 2 of the third day here. You see Team USA getting set to take on Venezuela. A near sellout for this game this afternoon. About 10 minutes away from tip, around 1:40 p.m. local time. As we take a look at Group C action. Already today we've seen Mexico defeat Panama 65-60. Mexico claiming the top spot in Group C. Venezuela and the U.S. upcoming. The U.S. losing to Mexico for the first time in the AmeriCup ever in match day 1. And Venezuela defeating Panama in their previous game. So we're moments away from tip. We'll see both teams run out of the tunnel here momentarily. For the number 17 world ranked Venezuela, team that were able to control their game against Panama relatively easily, winning that one 72-58. What do you expect to see in their second game here against a much tougher U.S. squad that is looking hungry for a win?
Well, it's going to be a completely different game, right? Opening game, they may have caught Panama, coming in late with heavy legs and late to the game. But this is going to be a different match, right? You're looking at you're coming up against a USA team that came off a disappointing loss against Mexico. There's going to be a response by them, right? How are you going to manage that first blow, that first win by USA? And it's going to start with the guard play, right? And controlling the basketball, not turn the ball over, and allowing USA to get to the comfort zone and get on the run, which they weren't able to do in their previous matchup against Mexico. So it's about the response and just coming out here and being the aggressor and controlling the runs, because it's a game of runs, but not allowing anybody to get off early.
What we saw in the first game for the Americans was really a lack of cohesiveness. They really didn't gel as much as we thought they would offensively, and they have the opportunity now with one game at least under their belt and a practice and an off day, which is always important to watch film and see where you could adjust as a player, right?
Well, if there's any indication that this team was still needing to build some cohesiveness and chemistry, is the 18 turnovers that they had against Mexico, right? So you're right. You get back, you watch some film, and take some accountability, right? And acknowledge where you could have been better individually. And that's what good players do. That's what great players do. And you come out here, again, you can't afford another disappointing loss. So you got to come out here, and that switch has got to go off. That bulb has got to go off in your head where, look, we're coming out here, we got to send a message. We slipped game 1, game 2 is a different ball game, and a number of players, got to step up.
Regardless of who's wearing a U.S. jersey, when opposing countries see USA across their chests, they are going to give them their A game each and every single time out. A lot of pressure when you represent your country at this level to perform and deliver. We'll pause now for the national anthems for these two great nations.
Remain standing for the national anthem of United States of America.
Time to take a look at the three officials who will be in charge keeping this game. Check. Telly, Fernandez, Ortega. Representing Brazil, Argentina, and Ecuador. '17th ranked in the world, Venezuela. Let's take a look at their starting five. That is looking to make it 2 in a row here in Brazil. Circle that name, Wendy Ratehara. Big man inside, the captain of this team, and a lot is going to be on his shoulders if Venezuela is able to get a W here in their second game. Fernando Hector Duro, the head coach of Venezuela, has his team focused, poised, ready to pull off an upset, regardless of who's here. Anytime you see Team USA take a basketball court and they lose, it is absolutely an upset. The #1 world-ranked team, Olympic champions. Let's take a look at their starting five.
And you mentioned it, right? If you're US, Rapiro, excuse me, he's the guy that you're going to have to go out and pay the most attention to right out the gate. Finished with 13 points, 13 rebounds.
There's one area that the Americans might be a little bit light on is bigs. Zimmerman is going to have the assignment early for Coach Alex Jensen, of course, a part of the Utah Jazz organization. Getting a chance to coach the national team here in an important competition, the AmeriCup in Brazil. We're moments away from tip-off. Second game for these two teams. Mexico defeating the U.S. in their first game, 73-67. What really stuck out to you in their loss?
I think the big thing for me was the points in the paint, right? How much points they gave up down low. 44 points down there, and I think they had to provide a bit more resistance in the blocks and from guard penetration as well. Stoll really had his way with them. And that's where it's really got to start from, right? Those guards got to set the tempo for your back line as well, and not to put too much pressure on them while they dictate traffic and communicate on that back line. So I think it was more from, is it an ability standpoint? No. Is it capability? No. That's more communication. And for a team that's, newly playing together, probably hasn't had enough practices to gel and have that chemistry that you would be accustomed to seeing at this level. It's, how fast can we communicate with each other, how fast can we get online and just taking direction and instructions, right? Somebody's got to step up and be the leader because, again, they're not familiar with each other yet. But the talent is there. Is it a dream team? No. But there's definitely a tremendous amount of talent, a number of guys that have, some big accolades and some accomplishments behind their name. just got to put it together, and the faster they can do that, the more success they'll have.
Both teams taking the court here in Brazil for the second time. They had an off day yesterday. Each team that we've seen play so far, and it's been their second game, they've been able to get into a much better rhythm, especially shooting the ball in game number 2. Let's see if that's the case for these two teams, especially having the off day in between. Well, off we go here from Recife, Brazil. Carlin Gay alongside Javon Shepard. It is the AmeriCup. And it's Group C action. Team USA in the home whites. Venezuela wearing the row blue. This is Norris Cole will tee up the 3. In and out on the first attempt. Zola pulls it down on the flat-footed rebound. Screen there as Frank Mason ran into it. We talked about him in the pregame. Shows the good footwork against his first 2.
Great footwork. We talked about the screen up top, but the screen down low to get him open. Savante said a good one. And Grateol coming off and just getting into his great footwork like you mentioned.
Zimmerman hands off. Mason to the corner for Clark. Off the mark. Mason with the one-handed rebound and the jump hook. Rather, that's Zimmerman with the jump hook, his first 2. Arzola inside Cratero, they clear the floor for him. Now Savante rises to give him some space. See, 2-man game. Savante turns the corner, floats it up, off glass. Zimmerman vacuums that in. Here's Mason. Spinning to the corner for Clark, skip pass. He Sword. 10 to shoot for the U.S. Pocket pass, too tough for Zimmerman to handle, but it lands in the hands of Sword, who cashes in on the 3.
That's just the perfect bounce, right? Missed Zimmerman, but got that second bounce right into the hands of Sword and got up. Good corner 3, the shortest 3 in the game.
Offensive foul is going to be called on Savante as he bulldozed Sword. Sword didn't get the and 1 call on a 3-point attempt, but could that be a makeup call on the other end as Savante put his head down and went right through him. It's the first team foul for Venezuela here in the game, 2 minutes in. Zimmerman sets Mason. Tough pass, and Cole did a good job of catching that. Clark, here's Sword. Drives baseline, the floater, and he was hit. He'll go to the line for 2.
And Sword has come out a bit more aggressive right out the gate. Hit that corner 3 there and just on the catcher, attacking baseline. That side is cleared out. Good bump, gets the foul, but again, not only is that attack quick, the first step is quick, but using his broad shoulders and just dipping into the defense, clearing space as he elevates.
Quick Sword toes the line, knocks down his first free throw in game number 1. Gave the U.S. 8 points, 4 rebounds, shooting 57% from the field. And a couple highlight reel dunks in the open floor, definitely a high riser. He has 5 quick points here in the opening 3 minutes of this game. Matarad for 3, no good. And Cole with the rebound, quickly up the floor. Here's Sword. Was looking for a highlight reel play in this one, and that pass goes awry.
Looking for it, but you know what? I'm okay with that, right? Norris Cole gets the ball, kicks it up the floor to Mason, and you're looking above the rim, and that's USA basketball. That's how they want to play. Turnover there, but that's something they'll get the chemistry, they'll get the fluidity with one another, connection with one another as the tournament rolls on.
Cifonte uses the Graterol screen. Now Graterol with the floater, no good. Sword vacuums it in. Zimmerman hands to Clark. Zimmerman trying to get some post position. They're not even looking for him. Now they find him inside and able to squeeze it in.
Well, you know what? He cleared out space, made himself big. Didn't get on the first attempt, but again, coming off, guards coming off and seeing him, making himself visible.
Carzola inside Graterol. First time he's touched the ball on this side of the floor. Graterol, great footwork, fading away. Zimmerman vacuums it in. Mason surveying the floor. Rejects the screen and attacks. Zimmerman on the offensive glass, couldn't get the tap back. And Cifonte now in the open floor for Venezuela. Cifonte hiding behind the Graterol screen, now attacks. Tried to tip it to Graterol on the offensive rebound. Goes awry and Sword the other way. Look at this aggressiveness, as you said, and he attacks the rack and puts it in. It leads to a timeout. Sword a little slow to get up.
And again, you see the attack here, right to left, and boom, knocks the defense off with that shoulder, not afraid of a contact, and a good kiss off the glass. Drop down here to Zimmerman, and you can see it. Nice touch, nice finish. The bench is engaged, everybody's involved. Clap in, and you need that, right? It's not just the guys on the court, it's the guys that are off the court as well. Just the clap and engage, but that prepares them for when they step on the court. They're already ready. You don't have to gear up.
11-2 is your score. Let's listen in to the Venezuelan huddle.
Atrás lo estamos haciendo, hacemos todo mal atrás, porque estamos yendo para atrás, para atrás, para atrás. Y este equipo va para el frente, papi. A defender, carajo.
Well, it hasn't quite been the same level of confidence that Venezuela played with in game number 1 against Panama. They seem like they're on the back foot a lot in this game. Conversely, the United States coming out with more purpose in this game, coming off the loss.
More, just a little bit more pep in their step, just finding mismatches, finding the matchups, and Venezuela just looks a bit more apprehensive, right? A lot of open shots that are just not taking it.
Saw Steven Zimmerman there on the bench now for the first time. He leaves the game with 4 points, 4 rebounds. Great effort from him to start the game. Rylan Cheatman into the game now, number 13 in white on the ball, guarding Graterol. 3 on the way. No good. Pargo with the flat-footed rebound. This is Lamb. Lamb now looking for cutters, decides to bring it back out to Pargo. Pargo cross-court pass to a wide-open Lamb for 3, no good. And Venezuela had 2 players crash into each other. The ball's going to stay here. U.S. possession with 14 to shoot. Jody Meeks and Patrick McCaw check into the game now for the United States. And Wendy Graterol will leave the game, as will Carzola. And you saw Sword there still holding his back after taking that spill on that and one, or rather, touchdown layup, before we had the timeout. It's Lamb. Good hard dribble, then gives it up. Mataran looking now for help. There's a Canio at the top of the key. Instead, goes inside. And the smaller Pargo could not handle Bolivaro that time.
And Pargo did a good job just getting up under him. Bolivaro just spun off, used the defense's aggression as some momentum.
Much needed basket there for Venezuela. They were on the wrong end of a 9-0 run. Ball last touched by Venezuela. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Jody Meeks will trigger this inbound.
See it there out of your frame, but Bolivar just had Pargo pinned and just spun off him. And again, the awareness to spin, touch, to put it off the glass. Good feel.
Lamb for three, indeed. His first three of the game.
Lamb coming off a good season in the G League, just under 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. So a guy can do a bit of everything.
Lamb with the shot there, and Lamb collects the rebound. There's Pargo. Good hesitation, dribble right to the rack.
Younger Pargo may have dunked that, but he still has that explosive first step. You can see him there, get to the rack, and then just protect the ball above the defense with the finish.
Younger Pargo, he's only 36 years of age. Don't age him too much. Like there's still some basketball left in his legs. Got some of the greatest pro athletes in America still playing well into their 40s. Pargo might be just getting started.
Well, I remember, I'll tell you this much, I remember Pargo when I was playing overseas. He's playing Israel. You see him here attacking above the defense, scoops it above, and lays it off in the glass. I remember making some highlights that sent shockwaves through the world, and people were wondering why he wasn't in the NBA at that point. Just got into the paint. He's always getting to the paint, 2-foot step. Just power up. Dunking on anybody. 7-footers, 6'5" athletic guys. He's just there in the paint.
It's a message heard from your mouth to the players on the court. Venezuela don't want to get caught in that poster that Pargo might serve him up on.
No, sir.
Foul by Meeks there on the handle. It's the first foul for the Americans here.
You get caught in one of those, and you're on every highlight. And on top of that, it just feels like after that ball is dunked and it's going through the hoop, it just seems like the whole arena is looking at you. Every bench is looking at you. That time goes so slow. You're so embarrassed, but you got to kick it into gear quick. There's no time to think about it.
Feels like you're talking from experience, my friend.
No, I gave a couple, but I'm not gonna let you do me like that now.
5 to shoot. Bolivar with the offensive rebound, can't get it to go. And Cheatman doing a good job of pulling down that board and wrestling it away. He got fouled in the process. Feels like there's a lid on the rim right now for Venezuela, as they're struggling to get quality looks. Every shot really has been contested. Good job from the Americans, really defensively.
Americans flying around, and not just flying around aimlessly, flying around with a purpose and contesting. Here you see Venezuela gone to this 2-3 zone here.
See how the U.S. attack it. It's Pargo, he's left alone. He thought about the 3, but decided to be patient. It's McCall for 3. In and out. Offensive rebound. Leads to a Meeks 3. He can't hit. And we'll go the other way as Senton was able to keep possession. Martinez leaving the game. Replacing him is Fuen Mayor for Venezuela, number 27 in blue. Here he is on the basketball. That's how cool. Uses the Bolivar screen. Bolivar has Pargo on him and wants to go to work again. Fell on his own. Leads to a break for the Americans. McCaw, Meeks, Pargo, up fake. Drives to the basket.
That's a good job again. Jody Meeks cross-court pass, and Pargo just weaving through the defense, finding his way.
Sifonte got the up fake, and that foul is on the floor, so the bucket won't count. It's a little too jumpy there from Cheatman, who picks up his first foul.
There you see the shot fake, and then his eyes never off the prize, right? Just sees the defense coming across and just weaves through it. Inside hand, high off the glass.
Fuenmayor on the floater. 18-6 early on. Skip pass in the corner. Jody Meeks for three.
Somebody forgot the shooter, right? You gotta understand that Jody Meeks has made a living making that three ball. You can't allow him to get any open shots to get going.
Good block inside by McCaw, but he could not corral as Lopez cashes in his first two of the game. Meeks flashing across the key. Tough pass there on McCaw. Somehow ends up in the hands of Lamb. 7 to shoot for the U.S. Not a lot of body movement. Doesn't matter as Meeks tees up the three. They left it short. Venezuela with a chance to run. See Fontes right to the rim. His first two in the game. It's a layup.
Fontes not the biggest player, but he plays big, right? Plays smart. Really good passing the ball as well.
Again, stagnant offense against the zone for the U.S. Trying to hold for the last shot. Pargo missed it. Cifuentes, this is good if it goes. Almost went through on the ricochet, and that's how we'll end the first 10 minutes of play. Much better effort right out the gate for Team USA in this one. They're up 11 after one. Here are the best plays from the first quarter of play. Reminder, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now to download Courtside 1891, the app for your stream scheduled scores from the AmeriCup, Eurobasket, and the upcoming FIBA Women's World Cup in Australia. After one, Team USA up 21-10. A much better effort coming right out of the gate for the Americans. They were shocked by Mexico in their first game. And have clearly made the adjustments that they needed to. Coming out strong in this one, imposing their will on Venezuela. Cifuentes to the basket. He was hammered, and he'll go to the line for two shots.
You talk about imposing their will, right? Look how difficult they've made that, just even that possession there for Venezuela. Forcing them out at half, playing defense at half. Cifuentes comes up with a foul of 2 foul shots, but at the same time, had to work for that. Pemberton doing a good job there as well.
5 on the floor right now for the Americans to start the second quarter. Clark, Davis, Meeks, Pargo, and Pemberton. Cifuentes knocks down the first free throw. 5 for Venezuela. Betancourt, Senton, Fuenmayor, Lopez, and Cifuentes, whose second free throw is no good. And Pargo able to track it down. This is Meeks. Clark from the corner for 3, drills it. His first 3 of the afternoon. Cifuentes. Pemberton doing a great job of staying in front of him, but then got wiped out by Lopez, who's now asking for it in the paint. Well, he's been in there a long time. Didn't matter as the shot clock expired. That's great defense by Pemberton.
Pemberton just standing him up, boulevard up, giving him that forearm, and a good job by Pargo, just understanding that the shot clock's running down, digging down, and making it even more difficult, forcing that shot clock violation. Great, individual defense, but at the same time, great team defense.
Mason back into the game for Team USA, as is Cole, Norris Cole. This is Pemberton. He'll attack. Mason left alone, thought about the three, good skip pass. Leaves Pemberton alone right in front of his bench, and he drills it. Team USA struggled from three-point range in their loss to Mexico, shooting only 25%. They found the touch here in game number 2. Already 5 three-pointers to start. Lopez touched it and banged it off of Davis, so we'll stay here with 5 to shoot. Or rather, there's a foul called. And we'll go the other way. There it is. You'll see it down low. The foul is on Davis. And that is his first. This is Pemberton. Kicks to Cole. Davis now on the block. Got the steps right and then kissed it off the glass.
The U.S. has really used that cross-court pass there. You can see cross-court and entry into the post, and Davis taking care of the rest of business there, finishing it up.
Foul away from the ball there. It's on Pemberton again. It's his second foul. He has his hands full with Cifuentes. Looks like Sword was going to come into the game to replace Pemberton. But he'll have to wait till the next whistle. Looked like they were going to allow him, and then they told him to stop. Rubina, wild layup attempt, can't get it to go. Grataro, who's back in the game. Had the ball stolen, and Pemberton could not stay in bounds. Good hustle. And he goes crashing into his head coach, Jensen. He'll go to the bench as Sword was waiting to check in for him. Pemberton with the 2 fouls, they want to protect him.
So Jensen, he's gonna have a little different team when he gets back to Utah, isn't he? No more Donovan Mitchell.
Shot clock violation there. Nope, Donovan Mitchell being traded right before this tournament began. Not only Donovan Mitchell, but Rudy Gobert, who is having a fantastic Eurobasket. He's also no longer a part of the Jazz franchise. 7:30 remaining here in the second quarter. Cole. High arcing shot, can't get it to fall though. Cifuentes dangerously dribbling with his right hand and almost got it poked away. They want to go inside to Grataro. They finally get it to him. Davis working to try and stop him. Grataro banging down low, nice move.
And that's just good patience there, and just continue to play through the contact. Wasn't much action or activity on the weak side, and Grataro just made something out of nothing there. Got Davis up off him.
Cifuentes, again, dribbling with his right hand when the defense was right next to him, and this time he paid the price for doing it. Here's Cole with Rubina on him. Cole, the floater, that's pretty. Norris Cole had 11 points, 4 dimes in 26 minutes. The loss to Mexico. On the score sheet now here against Venezuela, giving the U.S. a 31-13 lead. 15 bench points and counting for the Americans. Grataro for 3, awkward shot Looks like a flat-footed shot put, does not fall. Clark walks into a three. Can't get it to go. 6 minutes to play here in this half. Venezuela needing to string together some possessions that are successful. They're in the danger zone right now, potentially being blown out.
And they have to play through this, man, right? Play before, where good job here to see him. And that's why you got to play through. And 2 plays in a row, you go into the post, you get something positive out of it. Now they're all dumping down and mixing and matching with Davis. Gets a bucket in here. Everybody's eyes are on him. A cut. He's a good passer as well, willing to give it up.
Mason, top of the key with 7 to shoot. Matran reached in, counted, and the foul. And you see Cheatman fired up for his teammate as Mason took contact and went to the cup and finished.
See the attack here, takes the contact, and then just that step continues his stride. And once he breaks through that like a running back there, you can just see the focus. You know, sees the ball going through the hoop, easy finish.
Timeout on the floor, 33-15 your score, 5:21 remaining in the game. Rather, the first half. Reminder, you can scan the QR code for the app that you need to follow along with the AmeriCup, Eurobasket, Women's World Cup. Courtside 1891, your home for streams, schedules, and scores for a global game. There's the shooting percentages for both teams. 36% for Team USA from three-point range, shot 27%, and lost to Mexico. So they've slightly been able to improve. But while 36% isn't quite shooting the lights out, the shot selection is much better in this game than it was to start the tournament from the Americans.
You can just see that they kind of have a better idea of where guys are going to be on the floor, right? And just playing to that. And also that they're not manufacturing offense from the defense, but manufacturing some energy from the defense. And just playing off of that to get that extra confidence, extra pep in their step. You start to believe shots are going in. You start to trust the guys that are cutting, and the guards are just making better decisions and reading where guys are. You know, Venezuela's been in that zone a bit a couple times, and they've used that cross-court pass, which has created some advantages, and they just capitalize on that.
So after the timeout, Frank Mason will try to complete the three-point play. He left it short. Zimmerman, who's back into the game, gets another offensive board. That's his 5th rebound so far. The ball movement leads to a Lamb three, no good. Venezuela will clear.
And that's a good shot, right? You get an offensive rebound, 4 guys touch the basketball. That's exactly what we're talking about. Just patience and moving the ball.
Urbina uses the Cartero screen, steps back for 3. It's a good shot, but it didn't fall. And his bench giving the applaud because that's the type of offense they want to see out of Venezuela. Sword attacking, finds Lamb. Missed it the last time he took it from there, makes it this time.
2 for $1, right? A paint touch, kick out, Lamb, easy shot.
There's 2 threes in the game for 6 points. 8 assists now for Team USA. Moving the ball much better than they did against Mexico as Urbina darts right to the rim.
Urbina, small frame and even tougher to guard, right? Slithering, just get in there.
Mason finds Cole wide open for 3. Mason finds Cole wide open for 3. Indeed. That's just good basketball. You mentioned it on the last position before.
Great
touch the paint.
Great basketball. And Zimmerman sending a big screen up top, which gets Cole just wide open, right? You get that much space and that much time. These guys are pros. They're national team players. They're knocking them down.
Cartero finds Cifonte. He had to take a wild shot as he was challenged. And Cole gets body checked on his way to the rack. And Urbina says, yeah, that was me. That's his first foul, and Armina thought he was coming out of the game. It's going to be Safante who will sit. Coach Duro liking the energy that he's seeing out of Armina.
We've seen that energy plays, right? We've seen that in the first game as well. Achore playing most of that late fourth quarter with Gaskins, Panama's captain, on the bench.
Lamb, another three-point attempt, can't get it to go. While Venezuela sit in the zone, the U.S. are getting opportunity from opportunity. Lamb beyond. Craterol had that ball poked away. They want to look for him inside now. This is Carzola. Doing a lot of dribbling, and then Craterol gets called for the offensive foul, and Sword drew it. Craterol was trying to fight for position, and Sword took a heavy chop to the chest and went down and drew the whistle.
Craterol may have gotten away with it if, you know, he didn't have that extra swing in the arm there. You see there, just throwing off. Anytime you can extend those arms, the refs are going to see and respond right away. You see Sword there, just knew it at that point. Wrestling, and just fell with the push. Give the refs that extra help, that extra little push there.
7 turnovers now in the game for Venezuela. They needed to play a clean game if they were going to compete here this afternoon. So plenty of time in this one. They haven't started on the right foot. That's great ball movement from Team USA. Leads to a Sword 3.
Amazing ball movement there, right? At that point, no dribble, 2 passes, kick to the corner, and you can't move as fast as the basketball. So the more you pass, the better plays you're going to get out of it.
Carzola able to get it over the outstretched arms of the defense, and his first 2 is a tough one. Venezuela out of that zone now. Pargo. Clark. Looking for Sword. Good dish.
Sword so quick, change of speed. And Meeks with that first backdoor cut. They're expecting Sword to come to the ball. Again, he just surprises the defense and cuts backdoor right on top of Meeks. Gets himself open.
They're going to call the foul on Clark. Sword thought maybe it was a travel. Here he is in that cut.
Good finish too, right? Tough finish. You see it, catch the ball, inside hand, reverse. On the other side, the rim, protecting himself. Nice finish.
Sword leaves the game with 12 points. Great energy provided from that young man to start this game. Carzola, jab and go. This is Martinez now with Meeks on him. Martinez puts it on the deck, finds Bolivar inside.
You get that deep in the paint, you force the defense to step up, and you have a drop down right there. Great attack, great read.
Minute 23 to play in the second quarter. Meeks off the curl, threw it away. Important possession here for Venezuela. Try and close this half with some momentum. Yeah, the Bolivar layup on the last possession. Carzola overshot the rim on that layup attempt. Here's Pargo showing you the handle. It's poked out of his hands by Carzola. Will stay here with 15 to shoot. Pargo saying, man, he reached right across my body. Timeout on the floor. 15 seconds on the shot clock when we come back. 51 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Team USA up 44-21. face-off turnovers in favor of the Americans, 12-2. 7 turns for Venezuela. That's what Team USA wants to do. They want to get out in the open floor and run.
Easy plays. Starts with guys like that right there, Sword, right? The activity he's come out here with. And turning over teams, and one, you're getting out, scoring easy baskets. But on the other side, it's deflating, it's demoralizing for your opponent. That you just have them, you're stuck in your head, you're pressuring them. They can't get into the offensive sense, and that's where frustration builds.
Let's take a look at some of the best work from Sword. He's on the bench right now and probably will watch the rest of this first half from that seat. But he's earned this rest. Leading all scorers at the moment with 12 points. Perfect from the field as well. Been a plus 16 in his near 10 minutes of play.
Attended, he was with Summer League with the Washington Wizards this past summer. Played for the Washington City Go-Go. In the G League this year, was under 8 points, 3.5 assists.
It's one of those guys that just oozes athleticism. And the reason for the delay, folks, you can't see it in your camera view right now, is they're just trying to clean up a wet spot on the court near midcourt. There's about 4 mops doing that, and guess what? It is leaking something serious here in the arena, so we're gonna have an extended delay. It was raining this morning here in Recife. Now it is raining inside the arena. So with the break, we'll get an opportunity to talk about the first game we saw, Yvonne, Group C. Team that these two teams played on match day 1. It was Mexico defeating Panama 65-60. And Mexico, a team that not many were talking about here in Brazil to potentially win this thing. But they look like the sleeper team of the tournament so far.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in a position, if they're deep enough or strong enough to necessarily win this thing. But you're right. I think they've come out here, they've surprised, turned a lot of eyes rather. Just been that sort of come out here working on. This is a team you have to prepare for. This is a team you have to lock in. It's not one of those days where it's going to be a walk in the park, or you're just going to dictate how the pace of the game is going, the aggression, because they come out and they fight. And I think that for them has been their staple. And they wore that with a chip on their shoulder, I feel. They came out here, they started the game, they put a strong against the USA, which gave them that confidence. And now for themselves, they start to believe, wait, no, we're not just here to compete. We're here to win games. We're here to, advance. We're here to try and push these teams to the limit and make sure our name, our country's on the map as well. So that's always the beauty in these tournaments, is that you come in and there's always going to be a surprise team. There's always going to be some young talent that surprises, and you're like, wait, who was that? And there's always going to be guys that play well enough and earn themselves really good jobs out of these tournaments as well, because there's, you look behind us, there's NBA scouts, there's GMs from other teams as well, from professional teams across the globe, and that's what this is about as well. Performing for your country, advancing your rankings, qualifying for, whether it be the Worlds, whether it be Olympics, whatever it is, but also playing for yourself. And that's what makes it so special, makes this competition so special. And again, I've said it to you before, you only get to represent your country in sport and war. I don't know about you, but I'm going to choose sport, and I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to lay it all on the floor there.
And it's all due respect to the men and women around the world that do choose the other side of that, going to fight for freedoms for multiple countries. But as we are in this technical delay, you see the crowd here in a near sellout, enjoying themselves and finding a way to have fun in a tricky situation. They have been great here in Recife in terms of just keeping the energy up, regardless of whether or not Brazil is playing or not. You've seen some fans traveling to show support for here right now, as even though we're in a delay, the fans, their energy that they've brought through the first 3 days of this tournament, hopefully you can experience some of that at home, because sometimes you get goosebumps just sitting here listening to them go crazy. 44-21 your score. We still have about 51 seconds remaining in the first half. If you're just joining us, the reason for the delay is pouring rain here in Recife, and it looks like our roof sprung a leak that is dripping near center court. And because of that, you kind of have to wait it out and try to play the end of this half before deciding what to do. Cell phone lights in the air here in Recife. And it's great when you get a tournament like this in your city. It's something special that doesn't just happen every year. And the fans are really embracing international basketball here in Brazil.
Love that, right? And not only do you get to support like the home team, but you think about how much access do these fans and the kids and going after these players, right? That represent their country, they're playing professionally, that will be, you know, potential players that are going to be in the NBA tomorrow, right? Or the, you know, in the future. And again, like the fact that you're inspiring that next generation of players, it means a lot, right? And you're seeing it across the globe. You know, having the opportunity to host it is more than just the advantage for the host team. It's what it means for the community. You know, there's a number of volunteers here that are working their tails off to accommodate everybody and have this thing run seamlessly. And for those people as well, this is a great experience. This becomes a community event. You have to come out and enjoy themselves, have some fun, and then secondary, enjoy some good basketball.
Reminder, you can download the Courtside 1891 app to stay up to date with everything going on here. The FIBA AmeriCup, there you see it right there, Courtside 1891 on the rim. Quite clever, in my opinion. But it has scores, stats, and streams. You can watch this AmeriCup live and on demand. You can also watch the Eurobasket that, guess what, is going on right now over in Europe. And in a couple of weeks, I know I will be locked in to the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup in Australia. So while we waited out here, the concert's still going on here in Recife. And the crowd is keeping the energy alive. Great to see. You see some NBA jerseys, but also jerseys from the local teams here in Brazil. I see a Flamengo flag up there. Flamengo, of course, plays in the BCL of Americas, Basketball Champions League of Americas. The leak's still dripping from the ceiling. And I can see outside, Javon, is still pouring rain. So it'll be a while before we get back to business here. Because that leak is not going to slow down until it stops raining.
You know, it's funny you say that, because in my travel here, I didn't even look at the weather, right? What to expect. So I got off the plane in Sao Paulo, and I seen everybody in jeans and hoodies and jackets, and I got to immigration and I said, hold on, what is the weather going to be like? I didn't even get my passport at that time. I said, let's talk about the weather. And you know, luckily I got a great officer. He kind of laughed and said, no, you're headed to Recife, and it's a little warmer out there. But I did later learn that it's not 30+ degrees 24/7 around the clock here. We're actually in, I believe it's the spring,
right?
Recife spring, Brazil spring. So yeah, needless to say, I didn't pack any sweaters, any jackets, any long sleeves. Just I just had beach wear. I know you've been looking forward to the beach.
I have been looking forward to the beach, my friend. I can't wait for that. It is 26 degrees outside Celsius. It's about 79 degrees Fahrenheit for our American viewers. But as we said, it is pouring outside, and that's the reason for the delay, as we have a leak in the ceiling. And it's not a big leak, it is a small leak. It's just a consistent drip that is falling right onto the court. You don't want to risk player safety in playing it. So we're gonna have to wait it out here. Gets us an opportunity to talk about the two games that we'll have after this one is complete. Dominican Republic and the Virgin Islands, both those teams lost their openers. First, the Dominican Republic losing to their rivals, Puerto Rico. They battled as hard as they could. We saw a lot of great from the DR, but we saw a lot of mistakes from the DR.
A lot of mistakes, especially down into the crunch. I mean, it just didn't seem like the DR teams that I've been accustomed to playing against back in the day. But I think, again, you know, the luxury is the quick turnaround for these teams. Get back, watch some film, get some rest, more importantly, but then an opportunity to right your wrongs and make some adjustments. And you leave even on a higher high when you're able to do that, because these guys are competitors who see improvements in your game, and that's what it's about.
On the other side, the Virgin Islands, they had a tough matchup. Tournament favorites, Argentina, did not let up on them right from start to finish. Really flexed their muscle in that game, and that is one of those ones where you kind of just throw the game tape away, so to speak. Wipe the slate clean when you lose by 33 at any level. That stings a bit in the moment. But then it's like, it can't get any worse than that, right?
It can't get any worse. So you wipe that slate clean, and you come out fired up to play again, right? And obviously, you know, they have a team that's not the most talented, not the biggest team. They have some injuries. They're a bit short-handed, Virgin Island is, but they're not going to give up, right? And I think it's amazing that they've also had, you know, the first woman to coach in this tournament, Coach Curry there, and you know, having her big experience and sharing it with the guys, and you know, just hearing even a guy like Ivan Ascot, just asking him what is it like to have a woman coach, and he said, you know, women are powerful, right? And you know, deserving. So it's not just to fill, you know, a role or to diversify, but there's women that are out there that are qualified for the position, right? And just having one on their staff there and taking advantage of that, and that's been a great experience for him. So I thought that was special to hear as well.
As you mentioned, Anisha Curry becoming the first woman to coach a men's team at the AmeriCup. Her first outing, 33-point loss to Argentina. She's looking for her first victory as a head coach at the AmeriCup. Coming up a little later on today as they take on the Virgin Islands, that is, take on the Dominican Republic. And then in the nightcap, we have Puerto Rico taking on Argentina. And again, as we mentioned, Argentina, I mean, on paper, a lot of people think that they should win this thing. But Puerto Rico showed a lot of heart yesterday, and that is going to be a game that Puerto Rico has certainly circled and said, if we're going to send a message to the rest of the field, we're going to have to win this game.
Right, and you know, you talk about Puerto Rican team, and they have a guard there that I was impressed with when it came down to crunch time. They tossed him the ball like a hot potato, and he delivered, right? Tremont Waters got into his pick and roll play, got into his actions. He was just really good. You know, change of speed. Doesn't have the most athletic frame where you're looking at him and he's intimidating you. A smaller guard, you know, not the most cut. But that change of speed, change of direction, that heart and that alpha in him, that dog in him that says when it's game time, I'm going to step up and take over. He had that, right? And he had a cup of coffee with the Raptors this season, you know, on a 10-day during, you know, all the COVID protocols and so forth. And the staff there liked him, right? It was just a situation where, you know, not enough space, but had his time there, played well, staff loved him. And then you talk about probably the favorite to win this tournament, Argentina, right? Depth, balance, shooting, size, chemistry, and a guy by the name of Paso, right? Small, speedy. But I'll tell you, one of my favorites on that team, Lapatola, you know, absolute scorer, knows how to, he's a microwave, he's one of those guys that just call a professional scorer. He can shoot the ball, get to the rack, always putting pressure on the defense, always has you on your heels. And those guys are tough to play against because they always, anytime they have the ball, they're in attack mode. Doesn't look the part too, if you see the mustache he has, but, you know, heck of a player.
That's Nicola Lamprovitola, who had 18 points in the win over the Virgin Islands yesterday. He was 3 of 6 from three-point range. By the end of the first quarter, it felt like the game was over. They really sucked the life out of the Virgin Islands. I'll look to do that against Puerto Rico in our nightcap here in Recife. Again, the extended delay due to a leak in the ceiling, and as I said, it is still pouring rain outside here in Recife, Brazil. So this league doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. Meanwhile, the crowd is having a ball. It's like they don't even want the game to start because we'll interrupt their fun if the game does restart.
No, this is a club right now. They didn't even realize they were here for basketball. They forgot about that. The DJ doing a heck of a job mixing and playing, and you got the mascot out here just turning everybody up. A couple more dance moves than I have.
And this has been this way really the entire time. Each and every single game has had this level of energy in the crowd. As you see Clark there. And guess what? I think we're getting close to restarting this thing. 51 seconds remaining in the first half. From my vantage point, it does seem like there's still a slight leak in the ceiling. But referees have told both teams to go back to the bench. I think we're going to try to play and wipe it up in the middle of our breaks to try and get through these 51 seconds and see what happens at halftime. So we'll play.
I'll tell you this much. Everybody that's over 30 right now is already, you spent so much time, you know, cooling down. You got to kick it into gear for 50 seconds here.
It is a very tough situation, and honestly, it might hurt the Americans more than it hurts Venezuela, because this is almost like a second game that will start by the time we get set for the second half, and all the momentum that the U.S. has built to grow this lead completely lost.
Right, exactly. Right. That's what these tournaments are about as well, right? It's about who's going to stick through, who's going to push through uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable adversities, and just have that mental stability, that mental toughness to continue playing, to continue fighting, to continue pushing. So that's a big part of what this is too.
If you stuck with us through the entire delay, we really appreciate you doing that. We'll get to the 51 seconds here in a moment to get you to the halftime break and allow you to reset and get set for the second half when it does start. Here we go. We're going to restart play. It's U.S. ball after the extended break. Ball in play now. Cheatman above everybody.
You know what? That only matters when you got natural springs. It doesn't. The time off doesn't matter. You can just get above the rim.
Fuenmayal, his layup hit the top of the glass. And no good. The game started, and it felt like the energy's now sucked out of the arena as Pargo attacks and finishes.
And then you have, you know, some towel boys on the side there that are just, every time the play goes by, they're running on and wiping the floor. So got to protect, got to make sure that the players are safe as well, right? That's the most important thing.
They kind of look like a major tennis event where those ball boys kind of sprint in,
sprint
run,
out,
grab those tennis balls, and sprint out. Patrick McCaw just slipped on a wet spot. Pargo goes to the tin, acrobatic layup, and that's how we'll end the first half. Well, an interesting end to the first half that saw Team USA play their best basketball here so far in Brazil. Here's the Cheatman layup after the extended delay. He didn't need to warm back up to do that. Your score, 48-21. The U.S. in front of Venezuela. And here's a look at the stats from the first half. America finding the range from three, 42% in this one. They shot 27% in their loss to Mexico. +6 in the rebounding total. They're moving the ball well with 12 assists. That's 48 points. Top scorers, Sword leading all scorers with 12. Pargo and Lamb with 6. Ratero and Bolivar each have 4 for Venezuela. I'll let you enjoy the sights and sounds from the first half with the best plays and be back for second half action in just a moment. 48-21 your score. Team USA in front of Venezuela.
Who will you become when the moment arrives and you're carrying the expectations of an entire nation, representing your people and their dreams, the colorful faces in the streets, the screaming fans in the stands? It's time to make your move. All eyes on you, all hope, all heart. Because when you win for all.
On the century mark will be the first time we go to triple digits in this game as Roque gets the bucket and the foul. Delgado inside, gets bumped. They'll go to the line for one more. The layup. Dominican Republic almost got another offensive tap back. Romero runs the floor and hammers it home. Dominican Republic looking to run. Sudro, what a rejection by Cintron. Came out of nowhere to punch it away. Parodi tried the no-look jump pass. Rodriguez, not a lot of time to work with. Tossed up the three and got at the ball. And sticks his tongue out afterwards and says, I am him. With the poster. pushing, look away past the deck. Right to the basket and throws it down. Nasty. Batista fires it up. Rodriguez was cherry picking on the other end. Canada falling asleep after the free throw. Clear to deliver. Aska. Deck in the open floor. Left it behind for Malmado. Showtime for Argentina. moments away from the start of the second half here at the FIBA AmeriCup in Brazil. The U.S. lead 48-21 over Venezuela. First half that saw the Americans come out and really assert themselves, getting out to a lead by as many as 27 points. Really dominating on the glass as well. 20-14 plus 6 in that category. They were able to find their stroke from three-point range, knocking down 42% of their threes. Their loss to Mexico, they struggled from deep, only hitting 27% of their three-pointers, so finally finding the range. But with this extended delay now, you wonder if that might affect the rhythm that they were in. It's almost like playing a brand new basketball game. We're about 8 minutes away from the restart as a team. Both teams were allowed 10 full minutes to warm up before getting back on the court. The delay happened with about 51 seconds remaining in the first half. And at that point, the United States were looking like they were going to put Venezuela to bed, but now you wonder if that delay might help Venezuela, because this does feel like almost a complete different game. All the momentum gone, the energy that was in this arena gone, and now it's all about kind of being a pro, right? Getting back on your feet and rolling with the punches.
You're right, and it is going to have an impact, right? Just seeing the guys run out of the tunnel, and Jeremy Pargo runs over and kind of laughs, looks over at me and says, "I'm cold," right? So, no, there's always going to be that, but you're right. You got to be a pro about it now, and at the end of the game, at the end of the day, there's still 20 minutes of basketball to play, and you got to come out with a win by any means, right? Somebody's going to come out here with a win. Somebody's going to come out here with a loss. Fortunately for the USA, you know, they're in the driver's seat right now, and they have the luxury of, you know, working themselves in, working their way in. Venezuela still, you know, their backs against the wall in this sense. So you got to come out here and really, one, use this 10 minutes before the second half tips off and be serious about it. Get warm, get back going. It's just the nature of the beast.
Still about 6 minutes for warm-ups. They're going to need all of it. Have you ever played in a situation like this where you were rolling, you had it going, and then something kind of slowed momentum down, and you pretty much had to compartmentalize that first part and then get going again in the second?
Absolutely, and it sucks, especially when you're rolling and you're clicking and you're playing well, because one is warming back up the body, but there's a level of focus that you have, that you prep, and guys, you know, before a game, a lot of guys have a pre-game routine that is all a part of your prep, right? And then you have something like this that throws you off, and you have to muster up the psyche again and the focus to get you going or get you back into that rhythm. So that's always the toughest part. And for guys that may not have been playing well too, it's like you had an extra 15, 20 minutes just to sit there and think about how bad you've been playing, right? It can affect you. It really plays a part on the mental.
Well, Group C is setting up to be a good one as Mexico upset the United States. The first time Mexico ever beat the US in AmeriCup competition. And they followed up that win with a win over Panama. They are 2-0 in Group C, sit at the top of Group C. Unless Venezuela can make a big comeback, Mexico will go to bed at the top of Group C all alone, which will leave the final game day a crucial one, as there'll be a bunch of teams battling for that all-important second spot in the group. There you see Craig scored 12 points in the first half. Perfect from the field. Not many times that you could be perfect in a basketball game. Did it ever happen to you?
I've had some near-perfect games, but never perfect. You're looking at him, and
you just had to get an extra shot in.
Because you're hot, right? You're feeling good about yourself. You're hot, and you're like, look, I can make this next one. I'm at 27. If I take this 3, that's 30. And you start thinking about your average, or you're at 38. If I take this last shot, difficult step back, that's 40. And then you miss it. And then you're still stuck at 38.
Right.
And your percentage goes down.
Right.
No, but you look at Sword and having a tremendous first half. And remember, he had taken that spill early on and kind of was holding his hip, I believe it was, or his side there. You have to think about how's he going to be coming back and warming that back up or whatever it may have been that was nagging him there.
Question about it, he did have that spill, but it was good to see him get back in the game and back on the floor afterwards because he was playing so well. His energy, we could talk about the score in 0-1, but it was really his energy that really changed the game. On the other side, Miguel Bonival came off the bench, 4 points. That is a team high, tying Wendy Cubatero. And Bolivar and Cubatero, that Venezuela is going to get back into this game. It's going to be those two twin towers that are really going to have their goals are really inside to try and carve away at this league. There's no such thing as a 20-point shot, right? Like, there's no such thing as a 22-point shot. I don't know. You just got to be consistent. And I feel like Venezuela got a little bit out of their sorts. They played so well against Panama. They knew what they were doing. Just feed it inside, play inside out. We haven't seen that this afternoon.
Well, haven't seen that, and have to find a way to get that entry first of all, right? The big just giving the lane, being present, and allowing the guards to get the ball in there, but at the same time, USA's done a good job just pressing up and not allowing them to get to their comfort zones. If you're in Mexico, you got to say, look, you might not win the one-on-one matchups right now, but that room for error is so slim, right? Got to really take care of the basketball. Got to execute, more importantly, and run through your offense, trust it, set good screens, because that's what's going to create the advantages. That's what's going to get guys open shots. That's what's going to force the USA defense to rotate and have them, on skates and sliding and just moving the basketball, because you're not going to win this battle just playing one-on-one or looking for, matchups that you can take advantage of. It's going to be minimal in this case. It's got to start by the execution of your offense.
Under 2 minutes to go before we restart action. A reminder, you can download the Courtside 1891 app and stay up to date with your scores, schedules, and streams. Catch live games and games on demand. Extended highlights all in one place. Courtside 1891, your app for global basketball. Following along with the AmeriCup here in Brazil. You can be following along with the FIBA EuroBasket. And in a couple of weeks, you'll get an opportunity to see the best of the best, the Women's World Cup coming to you from Australia. I can't wait for that. There's a QR code to download Courtside 1891, stream schedules and scores, and so much more. Extended highlights, just like that. And shows Courtside 1891 is your ticket. You can't actually see Courtside. They'll have you courtside on that app. Well, after the long delay, halftime, we are closing in on the start of the second half. Team USA led by as many as 27 in the first half. The score now is 48-21. Held Venezuela to just 10 points in the first quarter, and they'll be disappointed because they gave up 11 points in the second quarter, 1 extra point. Venezuela really hasn't been able to get going with their offense at all. Folks, there's another league now that we're attending to. We had the one at center court. There were 2 others that extended our delay close to each team's bench, really right in front of each team's bench. So making sure that we don't start. You saw it there right in front of Venezuela's bench. There's one right. 16-0 run to start that third period. We talk about Roque became a closer in that fourth quarter to help his country get past Uruguay. Second game of the tournament, we saw Mexico with an historic win over Team USA. Ball stole was incredible in that game. Really caused problems. Migo Gutierrez inside was really effective. Put pressure on the American bigs. They walked away with a victory in the first game of Group C. And Group A action, we saw Brazil defeating Canada. Boy, was that an emotional victory for the Brazilians. A lot of pressure to play from their home crowd. Arena was packed, sold out, and rocking. Canada did a good job of dealing with that emotional high that Brazil had been on. But the fourth quarter just seemed too much. The wave of emotion, the shot making from Brazil, and Canada could not buy a bucket, and they fell in that one 72-63.
And Brazil just played that game right. You know, they didn't have the best half, necessarily the best three quarters, but they did exactly what they were supposed to do and rode the wave of the crowd, of the energy that they had in here. And was able to close out Canada, like you mentioned, just knock down shots when they counted when it was winning time. And that for Brazil was huge, right? That rolled over into their game last night when they hit everything, right? Everything. I mean, they put on a shooting clinic there, but to your point, and if you're the home court team, the host team, you use that to your advantage, right? And I know if you're Brazil, you're listening to all the whispers and the chatter about Argentina being, front runner to win this thing and run away with it. And you've got to feel disrespected, right? Because you strung together a pretty strong team, feel a really good team, and playing at home, and that's a slap in the face, right? So you come out here, and every time you have an opportunity, it's to send a message.
Final game of game day one saw Venezuela defeating Panama. Panama arriving to Brazil late, which forced that game, which was going to kick the tournament off at 11 a.m. local time, to be played at instead 10:30 p.m. local time. And Panama just ran out of gas in that fourth quarter. Venezuela taking that victory for their first one in the tournament. Yesterday in game day two, match one, we saw Puerto Rico outlasting the Dominican Republic. A great showing from Puerto Rico, 88-82. Talked about the play from Jamon Waters, but Condon really was impressive. He's one of the many bigs in this tournament that we're definitely going to circle for the next week.
I thought he was special. The fact that he showed an inside game, he showed an outside game, but more importantly, he wasn't content with just scoring the basketball. He was fighting, he was making the hustle plays, diving on the floor. If he wasn't able to get a hand on a rebound, he was tapping it out, and those to me are signs of a player that just wants to win, right? It's not about the selfishness or the individual play, it's about the play for the team. And just seeing him play out here, it's funny, right? You get guys in different environments, and you see the success that they can have, right? You have a great career in Iowa State, played with the Minnesota Timberwolves this past summer at the Summer League. Didn't play much minutes, didn't have much production there. But you see him on now the world stage in the Americas, and he's having a huge impact, right? So a guy that's, one, adjusting from a collegiate game, but adapting to pros and clearly having success here, this experience here. well. They're playing significant minutes, right? Are they going to be able to sustain that level of play, when things get a little more physical, when you enter that knockout round, and guys are fighting for their lives, right? Like, this is food on their table. Now they're really playing to medal, right? And those are going to be the times where, pool play is great, but now you got to enter another phase where it's a dog-eat-dog world, and that's where the fight starts.
Reminder, we are an extended delay here. League sprung in the ceiling here at the arena. Rain heavily outside here from Recife, Brazil. We're about 1:45 before we get an update whether or not we'll start the second half or put more time back on the clock for these two teams to continue to warm up, get shots up, try to stay warm. As this is definitely a tough situation you want to see on either side either team has to deal with. The score is 48-21 in favor of Team USA when we do this. And we have 2 full quarters to play once we get back going. So teams going back to their benches. Minute 13 showing on the warm-up clock. So it appears as though we might actually start this time. The last time was a little bit of a pump fake. Fooled us all. It's all about player safety here. FIBA doing an incredible job making sure that each and every single player is taken care of, especially on this court. Even prior to the leaks that we've seen in the last 40 minutes or so of real time, the volunteers here in Recife have been on every wet spot, making sure that this court stays dry. And anytime you play multiple games in a day, that can be a tough situation. They've taken care of it. 30 seconds away from the restart. Thank you for hanging with us wherever you're watching, however you're doing so. I want to remind you, if you haven't already, go ahead and download the Courtside 1891 app. Find it in your app stores. Scores, schedules, and streams, not only from Eurobasket, not only from the AmeriCup, but from the upcoming FIBA AmeriCup. Link for that. Situations to be in as a head coach, to kind of make sure not only keep your team focused, but also keep them warm, keep bodies warm, keep them ready to go, especially when the scoreline is what it is right now. You don't want to have that mental lapse and all of a sudden you're in a ball game. You want to continue that effort that you had in the first half.
Right, if you're USA, there's a number of things that are stacked up against you. You mentioned the score there too, is that human nature to relax, where you have a big lead like that, and now you add the delay, you add guys that aren't as warm and that refocus. So that
FIBA.basketball for more information on this Group C matchup. Well, technically we're still at half. The score is 48-21. You see Team USA leaving the court there. And we'll head back to the locker room as we never really got able to get restarted after a leak sprung in the ceiling with 52 seconds remaining in the first half. We played that, got to halftime, and there had been 2 more leaks that sprung in the ceiling, and it appears as though the officials, the coaches, and those here in charge of the situation have decided to let things go and let both teams go back to the locker room. There you see the stats from the first 20 minutes of play, 48-21 your score. Team USA +6 in the rebounding category. They were moving the ball well with 12 assists in the game. There's your top scorers. Sword was looking to be the high man of the game with 12 points. He had that mojo going. He was feeling it.
He had it going, and if you're Sword right now, you are absolutely ticked off because you were in for a game, and you know that's the disappointing part. And you know, who knows how long the game will be postponed or when it will return, but at the same time, for guys that are in a rhythm, and I'm thinking from a player perspective right now, you're kicking yourself because you know this was a game that you were going to use. This was a film that you were going to package and send out to, you know, a number of teams and so forth. And disappointing, and you know, obviously even more disappointing for USA after the loss to Mexico to come out here and play as aggressive as they did and turn things around and make the adjustments that they did. They showed, you know, the promise and the USA that you expected. So hopefully when the game returns, they're able to roll over and continue with that.
Well, here are some of the best plays from the first half. If you missed any of them, reminder on the courtside 1891 app, you can watch extended highlights of not only this game, but every game here at the AmeriCup, every game over in Europe at the Eurobasket. The upcoming FIBA Women's World Cup will have it too. World Cup qualifiers, you want to catch those windows. Your best friend is going to be courtside 1891. The aforementioned Sword got his teammates off the bench, fist pumps all around. Zimmerman had a good start to his game as well, 4 points, 5 rebounds. And he was always going to have the challenge of guarding this man right here, Bolivar, and his teammate, Craterol. Bolivar and Craterol leave the game with 4 points apiece. Lamb had the stroke from three-point range as well. Banged in 2 3-pointers after struggling to find his shot against Mexico. As you said, Pargo, he was warm at one point, and the delay kind of froze him out. Coach Jensen can at least package the first 20 minutes of this game and say, hey, we did what we were supposed to do, got our lead, pushed it out to 27. Unfortunately, we weren't able to finish the job in a timely manner, but he must have liked what he saw for the first 20 minutes from his team.
Definitely, right, and they're just active, using their defense to create offense for themselves, and 12 points off turnovers in that first half right there, and 22 bench points. So they had contributions from everybody, right, and came out and made adjustment from the first game. So if you're Coach Jensen, yeah, you're happy with this, and guess what? It also gives you an opportunity right now to, you know, chop up this first half and say, guys, look, this is the level that we need to play at, this intensity that we need to play at, and intentionality on the court, right? So have to find some way to use this. You know, disappointing that the game won't be able to finish, like you mentioned, in a timely manner, but how are we going to use what we did in this first half to continue as momentum and continue to grow with and pick up from?
On the other side, if you're Venezuela, you can say, hey, we'll throw out that first half, and when we do eventually play the second half, we can come back and treat it like a brand new game. It's almost 0-0. You go in with that mentality, maybe you have a shot of digging out of this hole that you have.
You got to come out
48-21.
Got to come out swinging if you're Venezuela, right? And like you mentioned, that's to their to their advantage and something for them that they can take advantage of there, just coming out and just having a bit more fight. And just now you understand you had a half, right? You know how USA is going to play you. I don't think much is going to change from the game plan, but what are you going to do with it now?
Well, 48-21 in the first 20 minutes of this game. We've called a halt to it. Stay up to date on FIBA.basketball for all your information to see when this game will restart and when it will be rescheduled. We will have it for you wherever you're watching right now. A reminder that the AmeriCup will continue here in Recife, Brazil. 2 more games are supposed to be played a little later on this afternoon. We should see the Dominican Republic play the Virgin Island, and then the nightcap will see Puerto Rico and Argentina in a game that most people have circled on their calendar and are looking forward to. So 2.5 games remaining on match day 2. Hope you enjoyed what you've seen so far with us here. Appreciate you hanging with us and sticking through the delays and the like. You can follow all the news on social media at FIBA. Use the hashtag AmeriCup to join in on the conversation. And again, FIBA.basketball for all your information on when this game will eventually restart. So here we see the standings in Group C, and remind you that we will be back here for 2 more games here in Recife. You're watching the FIBA AmeriCup 2022. So long for now.